All right, guys. I am Chris, owner of Swamp Rabbit Movement, and today I got a special guest, Wendy Cohen. Wendy, how you doing?
Hey, Chris, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I'm super excited about this. So I always like to kick these off with what got you started in real estate.
Well, I've always loved houses and fixing up houses. My husband and I did a lot of projects on one of our houses, just ourselves, and so that really is what got me into houses. And then I got in real estate when my husband was stationed over in Germany for 2 years. And that's when I decided, gosh, I've got this extra time. I've always loved real estate. I'm going to get my license. So that's when I got my license. And then shortly after that was COVID. I got my license in November of 2018. And then he had another year out in Germany, and I went to Germany for a little bit of that time. And then, COVID came. And so that's when really real estate started picking up more for me.
Yeah, it almost seems like you got into real estate at the perfect time. And like Swamp Rabbit Moving, I feel like I got in at the perfect time. It was right around that COVID era.
Yeah, I thought you started then.
Yes. So I honestly think anything in the real estate business was the perfect timing to start right around then. It's kind of like you got in, you got to know it, and then boom. Was that kind of your perception?
Yeah, for sure. Thrown into that was a really fun time, but also scary with COVID, like figuring out when people needed to do a walkthrough, but they couldn't get into the house, or it was just a lot of challenges. But it was a fast real estate market.
Oh
that's
my
for
gosh.
sure. It was crazy.
So what'd you do before real estate?
So I am also a professional musician, and I went to school for music. I grew up in South Carolina. I went to Malden High School, went to the Fine Arts Center, did the summer governor's school. I've been playing with the Greenville Symphony over 25 years, I think, and also I play with the South Carolina Philharmonic. I'm principal flute in South Carolina Philharmonic, and that's 27 years, I think, and I also play with the Augusta Symphony. So I've always really, music has been an absolute passion, and I basically have always been a professional musician. Well, I started really liking houses and real estate, and then my husband got stationed in Germany, and that's when, of course, I got my real estate license. And I knew I wanted to do it eventually, like when he retired, but I didn't necessarily think I was going to do it earlier. But then COVID shut down the world of music. It was like everything stopped. And so that's when I really started studying more, taking more classes, and really preparing myself and really getting into real estate. And then I realized, wow, I love real estate. I love helping people. It's just a different type of helping people than music, but it's so rewarding, and it's just a thrill to help people find the right house, get the best deal, and help them through that process where they feel very excited, but also remain calm and low stress. I love all that.
Yeah.
So I'm addicted to real estate. I love it just as much as music. I could never give it up. I couldn't give up either thing, So I'm a little bit in trouble because now I'm working all the time, but I do love both things.
Well, if it's a passion, it's like if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
It does not feel like I work.
Yeah.
It does not at all. Not with either thing. So I would do them, for free if I could survive on that.
So kind of just depicting a little bit of what you just said, are you working more so with buyers or listings?
I do both.
Okay.
So, and it's kind of like music. There's a lot of similarities with music and real estate. In music, sometimes I play principal flute, which is the first flute part. You might have solos. Sometimes I play second flute, which is a different challenge on its own, like how you fit with the principal flute or with the second. It's just and you're playing different parts. Well, I feel like that way with real estate. Like if you just work with buyers, you wouldn't have all the knowledge. Like you really kind of need to do a little bit of both, because then you really know what it's like on the other side and how maybe to help best your buyer because you've worked with sellers before. So I think it's a good idea to do, for me at least, to know as much as possible.
Gives you a little bit more of a tactical advantage.
Yes, exactly.
So your husband was in the Air Force for 20 years. Did y'all move around a lot during that time period?
So he is not officially retired yet. He just moved here like 2 weeks ago or so, and he is doing a program called SkillBridge with the military. SkillBridge started in like 2019, and it's to help military members transition into a new job. And so he is actually going to do an internship with my company, which is amazing. I'm so grateful. They're such a great company, and now this is like the icing on the cake. Like, he gets to do this internship with EXP Realty, and he's going to be helping me, because now he's going to have his license, so he's going to help my team, and I'm really, really excited about that, and of course excited to work with him as well. When he first joined the military, we were living in Charlotte, and I was playing with South Carolina Philharmonic and Greenville Symphony, and he got the job with the Air Force Band, and it moved us to Warner Robins, Georgia. And I thought, how in the world am I going to do this? Drive to Warner Robins to Columbia or whatever. I mean, it's just a lot of driving. I thought, that's crazy. Musicians do anything, though. They're gonna. It doesn't matter if you're in the negative. You're just, you're addicted to the music, and you want to play and get that, helping people in the audience, making them happy. So I thought, this is crazy, but did that. And then he got stationed at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. And then it was like a little 8-hour drive to Greenville, 7-hour drive to Columbia. But I was still doing it. I would stay here with family or stay in a hotel. And I just kept doing it. And then he got stationed in Germany. So then it was like, well, okay, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
You can't drive your car.
That's not going to work at all.
Yeah.
So at that point, when he got stationed in Germany, that was when I got my real estate license. We had worked on fixing up our house in Virginia a lot and sold it, and it did really well. It was kind of fun seeing, wow, if you do a little bit of work on your house the right way, it really can be such a great investment. And so that's when I first started really thinking, I should do this. This could be something I'd be really good at. And so I got my license when he was over in Germany because I had a little bit extra time. I didn't think that I would do real estate until he retired, because I just didn't think it was possible. I was like, how am I going to do real estate? I'm like all over the place. I don't even know where we're going to live. And then I learned about EXP Realty, which is a virtual brokerage, an iCloud brokerage. And I was like, wow, well, if I am going to do real estate, this could work for me because, I could be in Columbia. I know Columbia really well. I could be in Greenville. I mean, I don't know where I'm going to be, but, I could sell houses in both those places because I know the areas really well.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started, when I went ahead and joined EXP, and it's been amazing ever since. And then he was stationed in Illinois after Germany, and it was like, oh gosh, that's an 11-hour drive. We're just going to have to, we're going to have to decide where we're going to live and really just make the decision to just go ahead and buy, a home. And so we decided Greenville was the place. We knew, between all those places, that was where we wanted to be. So we bought a house in Greenville, and we also bought a house for him in Illinois for the time he had left, which was like, at that time, it was 6 years, I think. So It was a little scary because we were like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do that? How are we going to manage, doing this? It's, a little crazy also what military people do, especially people with kids. I don't know how they do it, but people do it, live apart like that. And so so we did that, and then the intention was for me to always come back and play the orchestra things that I would have, and I would have a place to stay, a house. And then, of course, COVID hit, and that plan went out the window. We started Airbnb-ing our house in Greenville, which actually worked out really well. So I got into that business. And then COVID hit. I went back to Illinois to be with my husband during COVID, which was just great, that we got to be together that whole year. And we renovated our house in Illinois, which was a 1916 Craftsman, a real old house. It was very fun to do all of that and learn about all of those things too. I think that's another thing that helps you with real estate. The more you know about houses, the more you can help your clients. So, and then that's when, music had completely shut down. So that was a little scary. Like, when is it going to happen? When is it going to start again? What's happening with the world? Have I lost my job completely? And so that was when I really started to things started to pick up with real estate for me. And in 2021, that was the first year where things just took off. And my husband volunteered to deploy to Kuwait for 6 months, because also as a musician in the military, he wasn't doing as much either, because they weren't able to go out and play for the public. They were doing a lot of videos. So he thought it would be a really good time and a way to help the military to go ahead and do a deployment like that. So he did that deployment to Kuwait, and I was like, well, if you're going to be there, then I'm just going to move back to Greenville and really do more, full time. And that's when I really started doing real estate full time, like 80 hours a week. I mean, crazy full time. And it just took over, and it's just basically grown completely every single year. It has grown, and it's been really fun. And like I said, I wouldn't give it up for anything. I love it.
That's awesome. Do you feel like your experience in moving to different states kind of gives you also another tactical advantage for helping relocation clients move to the area?
That's a good question. Well, some people have asked me, why didn't you get your Illinois license like that year of COVID when I was there? Because the military actually would have given me free licensing.
Like a stipend or something.
Yeah, I could have gotten my real estate license for free. But I thought, I cannot convince anybody to live in Illinois.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Sorry, Illinois people, but the taxes are awful.
Yeah.
Taxes are terrible. No. So I would be telling everybody to move to Greenville. I mean, this place is amazing. You know, this state is amazing. The taxes, the employment, I mean, it's just the weather. So yes, it's kind of good to have seen other parts of the country and also the world. I've seen a lot of parts of the world. It does make you appreciate your home. This is a great place to live. Like, we just have mountains. We have the beach not that far. The weather's amazing. Cost of living is low. So, yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, because I grew up here too as well. But from your perspective, what shocks you the most about Greenville, seeing it then and seeing it now?
I think maybe that the traffic has picked up a little bit, but I think if you live here, you learn ways around it.
For sure.
So I think the people that complain about traffic, it's usually people that don't realize there may be some other ways that you can go.
Yeah.
But that has definitely picked up more.
Especially in certain areas too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And always, the unfortunate part about a city that's growing rapidly is that the infrastructure is usually the last to grow, right?
Yeah.
And usually when they do infrastructure changes, by the time it's completed, it's already outgrown again. So it's like a constant cycle of trying to keep up.
That's true. That's true.
But I feel like compared to like places like New York City or California or whatever, like the traffic is pretty light, you know?
It is.
In that sense.
Yeah.
Obviously for like me or you, somebody that's grown up here where you could just, travel and not have to worry about being in stop and go traffic like you do now, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. And comparing to those places, like, we can go downtown and find a parking spot that's free.
Yeah.
Like, there aren't many cities that have that.
Yeah.
So that's a bonus for Greenville for sure.
What do you think in the buying process, what do you think are like 3 red flags buyers should look out for in today's market?
Well, with homes, definitely location is most important. Like, always be thinking about that. Schools, do your research on schools and crime and area. And then with the actual home, water can be a big issue. So just pay attention, to that. Make sure you get a good home inspection, termite inspection. I always, have people to recommend for that and recommend that to my clients. And then, just evaluating the different costs of buying a home and which route you need to go. There's different loan programs for different people, so that's a good thing to check out as well.
Yeah. And that's something, if you have a good realtor, that you can always use as that resource to give you that good feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like being in the arts industry, per se, kind of gives you that creative thinking ability to like creatively work through complicated deals.
Oh my gosh, music and real estate are very similar. Yes, so like, you're practicing and you might have hard passages. It's problem solving is one of the biggest things about real estate. And I love that. I'm really I think I'm a very calm person. I help keep my clients calm. And I'm just like, we're going to figure this out. Whatever the problem is, we're going to get through it. Or we're not. We're going to terminate. If it's too big of a problem and it's too much of, a risk for them, the next problem is terminating and getting through that. Whatever we need to do, we're going to figure it out. So I think they like that, having somebody that's good at problem solving and being calm. And I feel like that's one of the things that my clients say they really appreciate at the end of the deal, like how it felt very smooth and the communication.
Awesome. Is there any recent problems that you worked out that at the end you're like, wow, I can't believe I solved that?
Oh gosh. There's like I feel like
probably every day.
I feel like, and that's, another thing with music and real estate, I keep making these parallel comparisons, but it keeps you on your toes. You're always growing. It's not something you're ever going to be bored doing. Like, at least for me, like there's always going to be new pieces to learn, things to figure out. Well, real estate is like that. Like there's a new deal that's on the table and something may happen that you're going to learn from and figure out and kind of grow with them. So there's interesting let's see, what is an interesting recent problem? I can't think of anything at the moment. Let me think about that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll circle back around to it. So if somebody is considering maybe possibly relocating to South Carolina and they're coming in for a visit and they reach out to you, where are you telling them to check out? Like what places are you telling them to visit to get to know the area?
I definitely tell them to go downtown, walk across the bridge, check out, Reedy Falls, maybe go stop by the Grand Bohemian and walk down Main Street, go to Mass General Store, maybe go grab lunch somewhere, possibly go over to Unity Park, which is really amazing. They're doing lots of cool things there, and the Commons is a fun place. And then it depends on kind of what they're looking for, but, the different towns like Travelers Rest, Simpsonville, depending on what they're looking for, I'll have them check out those as well, too.
Do you think that there's any experiences in your past life that kind of helped you sculpt you into like the agent you are now? I know you have a lot of great client feedback. I see the 5-star reviews that you post all the time. Kind of tell me what drives your passion to just create the best client experience possible.
I feel like I am a very dedicated person, like, with music or real estate, to, like I said, getting the absolute best deal for my client, making everything as smooth as possible, the communication. I want it to be a great experience for them, and I also want them to get the absolute best house at the best price. If it's a buyer or if it's a seller, I want them. I am thinking of them as if they are me, and I think everything about it to try to, and I feel like I'm really good at telling people what they need to do to sell their house, to make it look better. I don't know, I just can think of whatever they need to do. And then also with buying, with things that you should watch out for, like I said, or just looking around the house. I'm really good at noticing the things that could be problems, like right off the bat. And so, that helps them too with making a good decision. And they really appreciate that. People always tell me, wow, it's not about making the money from this. They can tell. And it really isn't, because like, I don't feel like that. I feel like I'm not doing it for that at all. I'm doing it to help them because I love it. Yeah. And so I think that is what comes across.
How do you navigate, if say your client falls in love with a home and it's, that's the home they want, but you go to make an offer and you find out there's multiple offers on it. How do you kind of navigate that situation? I feel like that'd be super stressful.
Well, there's a lot of different tactics, with multiple offers. It's definitely not always about price. So I will say, I know I had on the selling side recently, we had a multiple offer situation for my seller, and it was kind of like, it reminded me of 2021, like craziness. I mean, it was like, there was more than one escalation clause. So they're on top of each other escalating. But I think you got to look through the contract and decide, the best thing for your seller. And so on the buyer side, it's not, like I said, it's not always about price. So sometimes it's always best to find out, what is the seller looking for? Do they want an earlier closing date? Are they really particular about cash versus conventional, to get that earlier closing date? Or are there things that they're, other things that they want? Like they need a lease back. That's something sometimes, things like extra things can help you win a deal besides just price.
Absolutely. We kind of ran into that. We bought our house in 2021, and we were up against multiple offers, obviously, during that time. I mean, the house was on the market for 15 minutes, and it already had multiple offers.
Yeah.
But the people selling the home to us actually saw us on the Ring door cam, and they're like, "Oh, they got a family. They're trying to start." I only had one of my kids with me then, and she was the younger one. They're trying to start a family. We're going to sell it to them, and we had a cash offer that was a little bit higher than ours, and they wound up choosing ours. So it's like you said, it's not always the money aspect. And they needed a lease back. They needed a lease back for 6 months, which we were willing to do. But yeah, no, that's really good information. So if there's one thing you want somebody to know when given the opportunity to interview as a realtor, what do you want them to know about Wendy Cohen?
Oh, I would say, definitely check my reviews, but you're going to be able to communicate with me when you need me. Like, you're going to be able to reach me. This is the biggest purchase of your life.
Yeah.
And it's really important to me as to you. And so I'm going to help you through it. I'm going to be there for you with any questions that you have. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to get the best deal for you as well, too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know you got a special treat for us. You're about to pull the flute out and give us a little sample. I'm so excited for it.
This is...
I already know what your tagline in this one. I know what the caption is. The realtor that plays the flute. He comes up with some really cool captions for it.
This is Grieg's Morning Mood from Peer Gynt.
That was amazing.
Thanks.
So if people are looking to reach out to you, how do they find you, Wendy?
They can find me on Facebook, the Wendy Cohen team. They can also, find me just personally on Facebook, Wendy Cohen. I've got a little dog in the picture.
Oh.
I got 2 little Italian greyhounds. So, look me up. I'd love to help you buy or sell a home or invest in property.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks.